guys, Shadow the Rat, and today I am very excited to bring you an update on Miss Coffee and Pistachio. So it's now been a day since they had their tumor removal surgeries, and I'm very happy to say that they are doing absolutely fantastic. Coffee here had the larger tumor, and as you can see, she has a little bit of loose skin here because of that, but she has a treat in her mouth. But she looks so much better. I mean, look at this. This is just really good looking. The vet did a fantastic job. As you can see, she only had to shave a little of the area, and her stitches here are just so neat. Honestly, that's one of the reasons I really like going to this vet, because she does a really good job of minimizing the damage, for lack of better terms. That is to say that her surgery sites are always super precise. She does a really good job stitching it and gluing it so that it causes minimal damage to the area, which is a really nice thing because it means the rat will heal even quicker. But anyways, that was Coffee. I also want to show you what Pistachio looks like. Hello, my baby stashers. We all know that Pistachio is a little bit of a shy rat. But as you can see, her site looks fantastic as well. In fact, I would say her site looks even better than Miss Coffee, because Pistachio's tumor was smaller. It's just that Pistachio is chunky, so it didn't look smaller, but it was definitely smaller. And the vet said that when she took the tumor out from Pistachio in particular, it literally just popped out. Like, it was so easy to get out. It was just free floating in there. Okay, obviously that's not the full story, but that is how she described it. She said it was a super easy surgery for both girls, but Pistachio in particular was just a really, really easy surgery. Now, one funny thing about Pistachio is that after the surgery, and she did Pistachio second, she put Pistachio back with Coffee in this cage. And Pistachio, as soon as she woke up from anesthesia, like as soon as she regained consciousness, she started eating. Yeah, she didn't even wait a minute. She just immediately went for food. So when she was calling me over the phone to give me the update, she was like, "You might find this funny." And then she described what Pistachio was doing right at that moment, because she had literally just finished surgery. And I was like, well, you can see now why Pistachio is a bit chunky, because she is the ultimate foodie rat. She will do anything for food. So that was pretty funny to me. Coffee, of course, started eating shortly after that too. Coffee's also a pretty big foodie, but not quite to the same level as Pistachio. You can see she's trying to stash right now. She wants to come out and play, but I'm not going to let these girls come out yet, because it's been a little under 24 hours since they had their surgery. So I don't want them quite exploring and climbing and so forth yet, especially not Coffee, because like I mentioned, she did have the bigger tumor. But both girls are doing fantastic. I'm going to give them another day, and then I will be putting them back with my other rats, so they will have the big cage again. I find the first 48 hours are really crucial with rats, and once that has passed, they are pretty much in the clear as far as healing goes. Of course, that doesn't mean they're not going to do more healing after that, because they will, but rats heal extremely quickly. So the first 48 hours, at least in my experience, seems to be the most crucial. So that's when I like to monitor them the most closely and make them stay in this one level cage, which of course they do not like. Now my girls are currently on Medicam, which is a very common pain reliever and inflammation reliever given post-surgery to rats. And I will say that another thing I really like about this vet is she makes sure that they have proper pain medication for at least 7 days post-surgery, which is extremely important with rats because they have a bit of a reputation of being animals that will self-mutilate if they have surgery. So they'll kind of go after the stitches and open up the wound again. But in my experience, after dozens of rat surgeries, that is not the case. And this vet also says that it's extremely rare in her experience to have rats self-mutilate after surgery. And so as far as I can tell, the main reason this is such a kind of commonly heard thing is because a lot of times vets will underdose rats with pain meds, or in some cases, they won't even give them pain meds after surgery, which is insane to me. Like, I know rats are stoic when it comes to pain, but that doesn't mean they don't feel the pain. So it's very important that your rats are given pain medication after surgery. And as long as they get it and they're being dosed properly, then it's pretty rare for them to go after their stitches. And again, I personally never had a rat go after their stitches. I say never, but I had one case. That was my girl Bean. She went to a different vet that's no longer practicing, but This vet kind of used some older methods. For example, she closed the surgery wound with staples, which, at least with rats, seem to be more irritating to the skin in my experience. So Bean did end up going after her staples. Well, specifically, she pulled out the staples, but thankfully she didn't do this until like 4 or 5 days after healing. So by that point, the wound was already closed. So that actually didn't cause any problems because, again, she had already healed enough from the surgery that she didn't really need the staples anymore. And in fact, it was a good thing because when I brought Bean back to the vet, and this was a vet that actually had me come in for a recheck after surgery, which in my experience, most vets don't have you do that. It's just not necessary. But because this vet used staples, she was supposed to pull them out because they won't just disintegrate like the stitches used with the rats. I should mention they use dissolvable stitches, at least at this clinic. But anyways, because Bean's vet used staples, they would have to be pulled out by someone or some rat. And I say some rat because, of course, Bean pulled them out herself. So when we went to the recheck, the vet was just like, oh, she did my job for me, which she kind of did, but it definitely was probably not the best experience for Bean, unfortunately, because, again, the reason she messed with her stitches was probably because she was being irritated by the staples. That, to me, was a really good example of how important proper equipment, like the dissolvable stitches, is. Because it definitely makes a big difference when it comes to how your rats will react after surgery. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I am very happy with how these girls are doing. And as you can see, they are completely back to normal. I should say neither of these girls had any issues with heat regulation. Of course, they are both fluffy rats. That is to say they have fur. So unlike Raisin, who is mostly hairless these days and so had more issues keeping her body temperature up post-surgery, with these girls, because they're fluffy, it was less of an issue. Thank you guys for watching, and I will give you another update on these girls soon. Bye!